Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. We're just gonna give it a few minutes to let other people join us before we get started. Hello and welcome, everyone. We're just gonna give it a few more minutes just to let other people join us. Thank you. Hello. So we're just gonna give it one more minute for people to join us, and then we'll get started. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Okay, so it's 5 minutes past, and we'll just wait for other people to join us. But in the meantime, I just want to welcome everyone here. Um, This is a conversation specifically for people who are in the United States on an F1 visa. And we definitely want to welcome you because we understand that there has been so much uncertainty around what you're going to do after you graduate. So this conversation is designed to give you some information and also to introduce um, another former F1 student who was able to transition to a EB-1A green card and is now a US citizen. And we wanted to talk about what that trajectory looks like. Um, so tonight we're going to walk you through what most students realized a little bit too late, and that is how you're going to prepare for something besides an H-1B and beyond your OPT. So, if we're going to be honest, there's been some increased scrutiny around STEM OPT and OPT, and that has made things a little bit more difficult for people who are transitioning. So, we want to talk about what changing interpretations of compliance rules and growing misinformation in the media looks like, and sort of navigate people away from a heavy reliance on H-1B. And just because of so many changes that are happening, and more specifically, be able to guide you toward what it's like to position yourself toward self-petitioning routes like EB-1A or EB-2 NIW. Um, so to that end, I want to introduce Omegafy to you. We are an immigration technology company. Our role is to help people strategize on their goal and how they're going to position themselves and their activities towards the criteria to meet EB-1A, EB-2NIW, and possibly even EB-3 or EB-2. So with that, we want to talk about what intentional building mean and how you position yourself for long-term U.S. residency. So what do we do? We help with early positioning strategy, with structured immigration education, AI-guided self-petitioning pathway assessment, and with that, we include expert review support. So that means that students get to build with intention, they get to understand what it means to organize documents and exactly what kind of documentation you're going to need for a petition, and how to strategize eligibility. So we don't replace university advising. What we do is we complement that, right? So I know that university advising does talk to you about what your strategy is while you're in school. We talk about what happened afterwards. So with that, I want to introduce Emmanuel, who is our founder, and he went through the same process. He understands what it is that each and every one of you is going through right now, what your uncertainties are. And, he came to the US on an F1 visa, also navigated school, employment restrictions, and uncertainty. And at the time that he came here, he didn't have a certain roadmap for how he was going to achieve long-term US residency. So Emigafy was born from that uncertainty. And so I wanted to introduce him and let him tell his story, and then we will go from there.
Thanks, Deanna. Thanks for the intro. And hey, everyone. I will try to keep my story as real as possible. But one thing that resonates with everyone who's an F1 student is you spend a lot of time investing in your education, both financial, physical, and mental. It means that at the end of the day, you want to walk away with an education that helps you do better. But most importantly, you want to go impact your world. Now, I moved to the US as an F1 student for my MBA in Cal State San Bernardino. It was an exciting experience. I enjoyed every bit of it. But after about a year, I had 1 year left, and one thing struck me. Like, I have found the US to be a place I want to stay back in. It looks like I can build a career here, I can build a future here. But there's really no path from that F1 to becoming a permanent resident. So I started talking to people around the school, my school advisor, spoke to different people, and they were like, "Oh, you have to keep applying for jobs that can sponsor you for H-1B." At the time, I didn't even know what H-1B was. So I started reading up on H-1B and I saw that it was a lottery and there's no guarantee you would get selected. Besides that, it's just another endless loop that doesn't lead directly to permanent residency, except your employer chooses to help with that. So I got really worried that all the investment that I've put into education and the cost of education going back home would not give me the platform that I desire to kind of scale my career or business at the time. So I started looking around, asking questions. I met a couple of immigration consultants. They gave me a list of options, but all of those options didn't sit well with me. But one thing was interesting. While in school, I was doing working on different research. I was contributing to we had like a campus magazine. I was outside of school. I was doing mentorship. I was mentoring people. I was guiding people. I was doing public speaking. I was doing professional contribution. I was showing my industry impact. Now, the industry impact I was driving at the time was not in the US. It was back home. At the time, I was from Nigeria. And so I was still, driving impact, helping people through different processes. Everything I know how to do, I kept doing it. I published books, journals, spoke to people, get spotlighted on different platforms. And those different things that I did turned out to be my saving grace. Now, when it was time, when I finally met an immigration consultant at the time that told me, hey, just based on your background and experience, you might be a good fit for an EB1 green card. And at first I was like, well, isn't that what the path for like the smartest people in the world, people with Nobel laureate or somebody who's solved a major problem in the world? And they were like, no. So they took me through the criteria and guided me through what I need to be focusing on. And that immigration consultant from 7 years ago is Deanna, the person who just spoke to you. And it resonated with me so much like, oh, the little things that I'm doing in my corner actually could earn me a green card. And so I kept talking to them, gave them everything they asked, and they guided me through how to meet some of those requirements. Now, it was interesting because I am the kind of person that believe in possibility. So I pushed hard, did everything I was asked to do, submitted my application, and in 5 months, I got my green card. That was the biggest surprise of my life. Now, because at the time, I did not expect it to be that fast. I didn't expect it to be that easy. I didn't have, all I had to do was understand of the 9 or 10 requirements, what are the five that I know that I can conveniently meet those requirements. So judging the work of others, I sat in panels in, conversation in school, and that was sufficient because I was doing my major at the time was business intelligence. So there were a lot of tech, like TEDx conversation, different forums and platforms. So I was volunteering to be part of those conversation, be part of panels and all of that, and all those different little things turned out to be what helped me. And it's so painful that a lot of students wait till the finish line to realize that your post-graduation plan should start on day one when you get into F1 status. The moment you take your first class, you should start thinking about your post-graduation plan. The reason is, unlike for me, how it was easy for me to meet those requirements, some people might need to do more work. But if you have 2, 3, 4 years of being in school, that's enough time for you to prepare for post-graduation experience. That's enough time for you to start something. Now, I am not alone with this kind of story. I had a friend who did an EB2 national interest waiver also. All he did was recognize, understood the requirement and started working towards it. The first concern that he had was, well, if they said they needed by minimum bachelor's degree, 5 years post, graduation experience, but I'm in school right now. But the question he had to answer, have you worked somewhere before? It was yes, he had worked some for about 7 years before he decided to go for his master's. So the fact that you're a current student does not invalidate the existing experience that you have. And there have been folks who didn't have experiences, but could work on things that would help them qualify. Now, one thing I wanted to share with everyone here is there's a green card for every and any kind of person in the world. The US is the only country that is so flexible that they've designed path for everyone. Some of those paths require employer, some of those paths require a family member, but most importantly, there are paths that you do not require anybody. You just need to sit down, have a plan, and work towards qualifying for the requirement. For instance, EB1A, you do not need a sponsor. You can totally do it yourself. You can sponsor yourself. You can petition for yourself. EB2 national interest waiver, you do not also require a sponsor. And so, my encouragement to everyone here today, as you go through your international student experience, start planning right now. Look at the opportunities, look at what credentials you have, look at the requirement, and just set a goal. If you want to go the EB1 path, EB1 looks like the most difficult, but it's the one with the least stringent requirement. What do I mean by that? EB1 does not require, EB1A does not require any educational qualification. It means that you can totally have high school and be able to get an EB1. Uh, so EB1, all you have to do is understand the requirements, peg the ones you know you want to meet and work towards it. I saw a question in chat that did I go from EB1, the O1, F1 to O1 to EB1? The answer is no. I went straight from F1 to EB1. As an F1 student, you're eligible to apply for EB1 directly. You don't need to change visas. Because I still had about 1 year left on my status at the time, plus OPT, which I never used my OPT because I got a green card before I was due for OPT, which is another smart thing I tell people. Do not, every time you look at your OPT, you feel like, oh, I have 1 more year, then I get OPT for 1 year. It's extendable by 3 years. With the current situation, I would recommend that plan as though you don't have OPT. Plan as though you do not have OPT. That's the smartest way to be on the safe side. And that's what I did. And that's why I got my green card before you ever graduate in university. Now, should I tell you what that did for me? It opened a world of possibilities. I went on to work at Microsoft as a senior manager, worked at Ford as a senior manager, worked at HPE, Michaels, and Rackspace, just because I was able to prepare for my post-graduation experience. So a lot of people get set back when they graduate because they only have OPT. A lot of jobs don't want to hire you with OPT because the cost of helping you move from F1 status to H1B, and a lot of times it's not even the cost, it's the uncertainty. They don't want to put you through a pool and you don't get selected, then you're stuck. And so it is smart for you to start thinking about what's my post-graduation plan now on our side, because this is a lived experience for me. I'm championing conversation with universities that accept international students to provide tools that help international students prepare for post-graduation experience. You cannot, have them come here, pay tens and hundreds of thousands of tuition, and you don't help them prepare for what happens after graduation. So we're championing that as a Makify. We're partnering with schools, and I'm starting with the school that I went to first and saying, hey, you need to make sure you invest in tools for folks who are coming into this country so that when they decide to stay back, they know what they need to start doing while in school to prepare for that post-graduation experience. Also, we're telling individuals, students whose schools have not signed up, this is the time to start preparing. Do not wait for the finish line. Trust me, you do not want the experience of the finish line. I have a lot of folks who are going through that situation right now. It's not the best experience because to come from any part of the world to come study in the US, it tells that you're a smart person. Nobody invests in education in the US if you're not smart enough. So we know that. So, and because you're smart, it is best to take advantage of what is out there for you. So, my advice, if you haven't learned anything from my story, is start early. Start early, start looking at opportunities. Do not be deterred by, oh, they say you have to have international awards. If you don't have a what's the other requirement, you're only required to meet three out of the 10 requirements for EB1. So just look at the three that you can if you publish a paper, a scholarly document today, even one published paper can help you meet one of the requirements. It's as simple as that. If you sit in a panel in school and you judge the work of others, or you go online to find panels where they're looking for people to sit in panel to judge work of others, if you do that, you've met your second requirement. It's as simple as that. I'm not trivializing the work you need to put into it, but I'm telling you that it's as simple as that. And I really want to encourage everyone on this call to start looking at how they can start. Now, Imagify as a platform actually provides a tool that guides you through what you need to do step by step. Uh, to apply for either EB1, EB2, and all of that. But beyond that, I need you to be very determined and start now. Now, if someone is already an OPT, it's not late. It's not late. Um, but of course, everything takes time. I'll explain what I mean by that. If you're not from any one of those countries that has been impacted by the partial ban, you can still go ahead and start your EB1 or EB2 process. You might just need to understand what are the guiding principles that surround these two kind of visas. There's one we call the visa bulletin. You should familiarize yourself with the visa bulletin. It lets you know when you're ready to file a green card, even after you have an approval of either EB1 or EB2. For EB1, the beauty of EB1 is from day zero, you can file a green card. It means that by the time you're applying for EB1, you can put a green card application in the same envelope and mail it out at the same time. That's the beauty of EB1. EB2 right now is a little different. You have to file for I-140, get approval, then wait till your priority date is current to apply for a green card. But I used to tell people if it's EB2 that you can meet easily, go for your area of strength. Push for it, apply for it, get your approval, wait for when you're due for green card, and you can apply for green card. It changes the game for you. I hate to see there are over 1 million international students in the US. And what if I tell you that less than 5% of them apply for EB1 or EB2? Because is it that people do not know, or they're too afraid, or they think that it takes more than, what it means, what it takes to meet the requirement is actually more stringent than they can meet. So I'm telling you here today, you have an opportunity to start early if you haven't gone on OPT. If you're on OPT already, it's not too late. If your OPT is extendable, anything that buys you 6 months, 9 months, you should go start your process today. Now, if you need a tool that would help you, guide you through the process. Imagify has a tool. Whether you want to use Imagify or not, it does not matter. My goal is to support international students. It's my goal is not to sell you a product. My goal is to support you. So I see questions in chat. They say, I read that schools panels and stuff don't really count. Also, it depends on what the subject matter is. For instance, AI is an interesting subject. School panels, if your school, some schools invite industry expert, to join the panel. Sometimes it is who write the letter about what you did that matters. And those are the things that I want to explain. So if you sat on a school panel, maybe in the presence of an industry expert that was part of that conversation, if you get a letter from that industry expert, you cannot get a letter from a professor on a panel that you sat in. But if you get a letter from that industry expert to talk about your impact in that panel, that would suffice. So the location of where you had the panel does not matter. It's the level of impact it drives. Is there also there are risk involved? Well, I don't know what you mean by risk involved. Once you show immigrant intent, you don't qualify for another F1. Yes, if your plan is to stay back in the US, then whether you like it or not, you have to get off F1, unless you want to keep going to school forever. So if your plan is to stay back in the US, you have to show immigrant intent at some point. So that's not a risk. It's a matter of what's your plan. I don't see that as a risk. I see that if your plan is to move from F1, you will at some point move off F1, whether to H1B, or to O1, or to EB1 or EB2. But if I know the risk that it might be involved is if you travel back and forth a lot and wants to show immigrant intent, especially with the current climb, there might be questions around why you're on a student visa, why you're applying for immigration. It is not illegal. It is not against it is not against the rule of F1. So you're not breaking any law. But of course, you might get some question. Someone say if I make impact on my job during OPT, can that strengthen my application? Yes, but it depends on what kind of impact you made. If you got awards, if you got commendation, staff of the month, all of that. Yes, that could, it depends whether you're going for EB1 or EB2. Another question say what would what would the listed option look
Right?
like in healthcare, specifically in nursing? I know I'm just taking these questions to actually get to cover some of these things. Diana, you wanted to chime in on something?
Yeah, I wanted to chime in on the person that asked if I make impact on my job during OPT, can that strengthen my application? One thing that I want to point out is that USCIS and US in general, what they want to see is people who are being public with their persona. So when we talk about driving impacts, we talk about industry impact and not just something that you're doing in your job. So let's say that you're somebody who works in software engineer, right? That is a job impact. But if you're a software engineer who's also mentoring and training within your own school, then now you're talking about industry impact because you're impacting other people who could join that industry. So you want to affect more than just your job, the entire industry as a whole. So how can you do that? You can do that through mentorship. You can do that joining hackathons and being jury members on it. You can do that through joining professional associations that accept you outside of student membership and asking them what conferences, conventions, or activities they have on their books that you can join. So when you're talking about impact, you want to make sure that you're impacting more than just your job. You're impacting outside of your job. And that's some of the strategies that we can assist with and something that we can definitely help you do. So I just wanted to point that out and make that a little bit more clear on what kind of impact USCIS is looking for.
Thanks, Diana. I think I really summarized my story. If there's any other question that anyone has, please feel free to ask a question. This is your time. Um, we wanted to make sure that we can provide you time to answer your question. What I can tell you for sure is if you have decided that you want to stay back in the US, it is time for you to start planning. Do not uh, do not wait till when it's the final step. Someone says, what would be the listed option for someone like me in healthcare, specifically nursing? Nursing, I qualify for Schedule A, which is an EB3 opportunity where you require an employer to petition for you. Also, there's the news where we just got informed that even EB2 now, nurses now qualify for EB2 on the Schedule A also. So you have more options. But of course, on EB2, you would require an employer also if it's not a national interest waiver. So wanted to answer that. So you have options of either doing EB3 or EB2. So someone say, how can I have consultation with you guys? Because I'm pretty sure I can apply for one of the options, but I have a couple of questions. I do have a premium account with you guys already. That's awesome. Well, you can, on our website, imagify.com, you can schedule a consultation. But what I would recommend is for being part of this call, you would get a link to schedule free consultation. Everybody here gets free consultation. It's optional. I would recommend go to that consultation, get the answers. You don't have to, I keep telling you, you don't have to work with Imagify, but it's best to know what you're eligible for. And you can take that and go do whatever you want to do with it. But if you want to work with Imagify, that's also great. But take that free consultation. That helps you know what you're eligible for, at least what you need to be working towards. If you're closer to an EB2 national interest waiver and you have a few things that you need to do to get that to be ready, you would know from that consultation. If you're closer to EB1 and there are a few things you need to do. One thing that is important is you don't have to be ready today, but you need to know your goal. You need to know what you're working towards. You need to have an improvement plan and say, in 6 months, in 9 months, in 3 months, this is where I want to be at this point, so I'm confident to apply. So that's the whole goal of this conversation. Not everybody is going to be ready on day one. I wasn't ready on day one too. It took me a while to put my case together. So I wasn't ready on day one. I had to go do things after I started. You know, I got guidance and say, hey, this work that you did, can you make sure you publish it on a more recognized platform? I had to go, work on publishing some of my work and all of that. So nobody's saying you're ready today, but what we're saying is know your goal, know what you want to achieve, and know what it takes to get there and start working towards it. So what would you do as a first year working towards this? That's a great question. I love that question. As a first year student, it depends, am I a bachelor's or a master's? So I'm going to answer both. If I'm a master's student, the first I would totally be working towards EB1. Here's the reason. It is easier for me to meet EB1 as a master's student than worrying about EB2 national interest group. Now, the beauty of that is if I can meet EB1, it puts me in a better chance for EB2. So at the end of the day, if I decide not to apply for EB1, I would apply for EB2 with confidence. Here is why. There are four things that, as part of your master's education, you should be able to do. You should publish at least one scholarly document, whether it's your thesis, something. One, as a master's student, it is easy to find opportunity to sit in panels, whether within your school, outside your school. There are online hackathon looking for people to submit resume, to be part of it. You should go everywhere to look for opportunity to judge the work of others. Three, I can write articles. I can get articles written about me by contributing to. If I'm in business, for instance, MBA, I can write a business article for New York Post or look for something local in my state and write and let my work be featured on their platform. It's free. Do you know that you can write article for New York Post and it can, if they select an article, they can publish it. It's as simple as that. So those are little things you can do and just plan out. So as a first year student on a master's level, that's what I'm going to do. On a bachelor's level, what would I do? My strategy would be a little different. It would be a little different in the sense that I would do some of the things I would do for EB1. Write papers maybe if I can write one. I would plan to intern. I would plan to write a book if I can. I would plan to drive impact outside the sphere of just my education. So what that means is that outside of me just being in school, I would join associations, professional associations. If you're in tech, you might want to do certification, join professional association. Do not join as a student member. Don't do that. Join as a professional member. It's always better to join as a professional. That way it puts me in a good light for an EB2 and EB1 at the same time. So is the link on the email we got. I think they would post the link in chat for you. Can you guys help us make a plan? Absolutely. That's where their consultation is. They will help you make a plan of what you need to do. And that's an opportunity. It's our way of giving back. Like I said, if you end up working with Imagify, absolutely fine. If you end up taking that plan and go work on it yourself, we would be happy when you get your approval and you give us a mention. So that would be enough for us. So we need to leave this call soon. Is there going to be a record so I can watch later? I think this call is being recorded. Yes, I think it would have to we'll place it where you can actually reach it. So what if I made impact on my campus job, but it wasn't connected to my course exactly? It's an impact. I would like Diana to take that. I see she wants to say something on that.
Yes. It has to be trajectory based. Anything that you do for your immigration purposes has to be based on what you're getting your degree in. Everything has to match. Now that's not to say that, let's say, and here's where I'm going to ask more specifically. When you say that, what do you mean? I think I can answer that question more specifically if you can tell me what you mean by that. Akam. Are you able to unmute and just share a little bit more? I did my master's in technology management and leadership internship. Actually, that worked. I'm going to tell you why. Leadership is
Hi.
one of,
Sorry, I just
hi,
wanted to give you more insight into it.
okay.
So I did my master's in technology management with official certificates in lean manufacturing and Six Sigma and supply chain and logistics because I have a background in international business. So I wanted to do more of supply chain manufacturing and business operations, business development. But I had this leadership internship on campus, and then we were able to build a program that gave um, US students free passports. So I was able to build a program where they'll be doing a study abroad
Mm.
program that will connect them to making UN projects. And we had this meetings where I was able to co-lead and facilitate them to talk to other universities like Mount Kenya University and able to get them to kind of be they have this program called United Nations Academic Impact. So we're trying to get the school to be a hub for one of the 17 sustainable development goals. So that type of
So,
impact.
so yes, that
Yeah.
definitely works. The reason why is because there's some technology involved in that, right? So you can explain the leadership, the management portion of it as part of the leadership internship that you did and how technology plays into that. So yes, you can definitely use that.
Okay. Thank you very
So,
much.
you're welcome.
By any chance, can we get the link again to schedule the session? Yeah.
I'm so sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Can you like resend that link so we can schedule a session with you guys? Sorry, I tried to look for it, but I could find it.
Yes, definitely. I'll be sure that we post that before the end of the call.
Awesome. Well, if there are any questions you might have either now or later, let us know. Whatever way we can support you through this process, we will. If you need us to talk to your school officers, if they can get an Imagify as a tool, get Imagify as a tool to support you through this process, that's also fine. We have a community on our platform that is free. There are conversations with other F1 students going through this process talking about what they're doing. People are forming groups and forming cohorts to work on this together. Feel free to use that also. We're just providing you with as many information and tool as possible to support you through that journey. This is what I wished I had when I went through this process. But if I didn't have it, it's okay. I'm building it now for people coming behind me. So it's a privilege. Are there any other questions, or does anyone have any question they want us to hand up them answer? Okay, well, if there are no questions, I want to really thank you for your time. The link is in chat in the chat. Please schedule those hours, come with your question. You would definitely get answers. You would get a plan that will work for you. Um, no, if not being in tech does not, yeah, someone said, no, not being in tech does not stop you. Um, we're beginning to move from just, you know, it used to be just STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. Now it's science, technology, even arts, business, and math. So it's everybody's included in the process. Way back, people in tech get leeway to get EB1 and EB2. Right now, everyone can have access. It's just about your level of impact in your vertical. So do not let that stop you, whether you're in finance, you're in tech or not, whether you're in civil and policy. There's so many. It doesn't take only tech people to make your world a better place. Everybody works together. Everybody works together to make the world a better place. So people who make policies are they're as important as tech people. And I know USCIS understands that too.
Yeah. USCIS very broadly describes the national interest. And it's really up to you to make a case for why your work is in the national interest, right? And a lot of times what they want to see is that there's interest in the US economy for the work that you're doing, and that explains CIS. So um whatever work you're doing, as long as you're driving and you have US jobs and US economy looking for what you're doing, then it's quite easy to explain your impact. Does anyone else have any more questions? Okay. Do you guys have any scholarship for low income first gen students? No, we don't have scholarships right now. Someday.
Well,
Someday.
what I can tell you is we don't have scholarships, but we have there's a platform I'm trying to Able that helps you find grants and scholarships that could help you through school. Um, we might be able to maybe send you the link to Able. They have that platform helps you find, scholarships and grants that you're eligible for. That can help you find that, but we don't have scholarships right now. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'll look forward to you guys attending consultation for free and just get started. Start early. Also, I mean scholarships to work with you, not for school.
Oh,
You can reach out to our team. If there's an opportunity to intern or anything, I would let you know. All right. Thanks, everyone.
thank you.
Bye.